So Geshe, we really want to welcome you to the Abbey. Yeah, and this is a special treat because for many, many years, you welcomed me at the Lamrim, and now finally we get to reciprocate. Yeah, this is actually Geshe-la's second time visiting the Abbey. He came in 2004, yeah, and if you go downstairs at the bottom floor of Ananda, he helped lay the flooring. Okay, this is one humble Geshe. Yeah. And then when other people were working, one day you cooked lunch for everybody too, delicious lunch. So it's really such a treat for us to be able to hear teachings from you, especially Atisha's marvelous text that is the root of so much of our whole tradition. Yeah. And many thanks to you, Nima, for coming and translating and taking care of Geshe-la. So welcome, everybody. We have prayers in English. Yeah, sorry. So we'll be doing the opening prayers in English. They're the same ones that you do in Tibetan, but we chant in English.
Yes.
To the teacher endowed, transcendent destroyer, one thus gone, full destroyer, completely and fully awakened one, perfect in knowledge and good conduct, one gone to bliss, knower of the world, supreme guide of beings to be tamed. Teacher of gods and humans, to you the Buddha endowed, transcendent destroyer, glorious conqueror, Shakyamuni, I prostrate, make offerings and go for refuge. When, O supreme among humans, you were born on this earth, you paced 7 strides, then said, I am supreme in this world. To you who are wise, then I bow. With pure bodies, form supremely fine, wisdom motion like a golden mountain, fame that blazes in the 3 worlds, winner the best, supreme guide, to you I bow. With the supreme signs, face like the spotless moon, color like gold, to you I bow. You are immaculate, the 3 worlds are not, incomparable, wise one, to you I bow. Great, compassionate, protector, all-knowing teacher, field of merit and good qualities, vast as an ocean, to the Tathagata I bow. Through purity, freeing from attachment, through virtue, freeing from the lower realms, unique, supreme, ultimate reality, to the Dharma that is peace I bow. Having freed themselves, showing the path to freedom too, well established in the trainings, the holy field endowed with good qualities, to the Sangha I bow. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions, perform only perfect virtuous actions. Subdue your mind completely, this is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, mirage, a flame, a lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew, a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud, see conditioned things as such. Through this merit may sentient beings attain the state of all-seeing, subdue the faults, and be delivered from the ocean of cyclic existence perturbed by the waves of aging, sickness, and death. This ground anointed with perfume, flowers strewn Mount Meru, 4 lands, sun and moon, imagined as a Buddha land and offered to you. May all beings enjoy this pure land. Venerable holy gurus, in the space of your truth body, from billowing clouds of your wisdom and love, Let fall the rain of the profound and extensive Dharma in whatever form is suitable for subduing sentient beings. Idam gurana mandalakam yam. I take refuge until I have awakened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the merit I create by listening to the Dharma, I will attain Buddhahood in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I have awakened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the merit I create by listening to the Dharma, I will attain Buddhahood in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I have awakened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By the merit I create by listening to the Dharma, I will attain Buddhahood in order to benefit all sentient beings.
So finish the prayers? No. So now, do I need to start? First of all, I would like to send warm Tashitele greetings to each and everyone here. I feel very joyous being here, but at the same time, I'm also a little bit shy. And the reason is because honestly today for this we have gathered here for the Dharma discussion, and on a personal level this is the first teaching that I'm doing right now. So because of that, I want to express that I don't have much experience and I don't know how to teach. And also today, with this Dharma discourse, I'll be utilizing my speech. So the speech teaching, the teaching through my speech is first here. And in terms of the virtuous karma or action that from the body, just like Venerable Thotten Chödrla has expressed earlier, that I was able to do something virtuous from my body many years ago. So I just want to express that. Yes, no?
니마가랑 류기 자와치기 중앙 니가로 다 규매바다 게매발 때는 중앙 말아봤어.
So this speech, the karmic action that I'm doing right now, and the bodily karmic action that I've done many years ago, these two actions that I have done not came into place without any causes and condition.
디 누가네 다 남부스 상황 경기를 주저 돌이야 단다포도 말을 하게 결혼스 고니 등요를 디 누가네 말한서 잠린 디날이야 심지엔 샤시기나 말한서 지구 지양기 심지에다 장래 때바 가서도 그랬어.
So today we have gathered here for this Dharma discourse, and even in this very world, there's so many sentient beings, and it's numberless sentient beings that exist right now.
죄송한데 되게 상황으로서 뒤베이나 만든 남기네 도와리 주스제제 된주스나 연주스나 준두고요 봤어.
So when we try to encompass all these sentient beings, then there are 6 different categories and 3 variable rebirths and 3 unvariables rebirths of sentient beings.
내일 샤시기나 다가나 신제 감숨스제 되베 감 수고 감 수메 감스제 가서 감숨도스 여러 봤어.
And in terms of the place and the environment, then there are 3 different levels, the desire realm, the form realm, and the formless realm.
지금 되발을 샤시기네 양 되발이야 된주숨 연주숨제 맞아 도와리 주지기 봐 가서 그래 되베 감주.
No. And then within the desire realm, then we have the 6 realms of the 3 variable and 3 unvariable.
다 소울 샤시기네 다나 시제 소그 감들이야 삼대 당번이와 숨바 시바시 돌나 숨밤 내리 죽든 시기도 왔어.
And in terms of the form realm, we have the meditative concentration of 4 different levels, and then when we try to see the details of this category in the form realm, there are 17 different levels.
디 누가네 디제 다드네 소그 감스 송감들이야 고란네 로가요 말에마도 지기 이네 송감네야 리시제 가서 그래 리시지기도 와
Sukham.
수메감.
So then comes the formless realm, and within the formless realm, the place is not sort of distinguished, but within that are the 4 different categories.
지리원에다 수메 당보대 수메 남가타해.
No. And then the first one is the open spaciousness.
되네 지양네.
Then the second level is that nothing exists.
더 당보대 가는 수메들라 남가타해.
Namgathaye,
지양메.
namshithaye,
어레 남가타해.
namshithayera,
남제대.
chiyame,
남가타해. 지양메 아니 시시.
sizira. No. So the categories are open spaciousness, then the vast consciousness, and then the nothing exists, and then at the topmost, sizi.
시시라. 디 누가네 당 안주 남기 송주에 받는 시제 또 시진에 오그 남의 그 밝게 심진스 시제. 안주야 도스 시제. 심제 더 장가 잡단지요 봐.
Yeah. Yes. And then, so within the categories of desire realm, form realm, and formless realm, we can also see that at the peak state of the formless realm to the lowest state of the hell realm. So that's another way of categorizing.
재산이 내가 나란주다 근데 여기 지대다 주기 심진스 시제다 나란주 시샤서 찍디르 봐.
So basically, the fundamental basis is that these are the different places and the environment, and within the environment, then the sentient beings exist.
그래서 또 덴데기 심제 장래 대와 여바 디나네 다 단단가란스 디나 수되어 봐.
So, so from all these sentient beings, the numberless sentient beings, from that we all are part of that.
제가 디디가네 다 심적dom나 디유베나네 다링가란스 두스지 님도 좀 아니 지가수레 사야동에 있는 님도 롱주기 중화 아니 주적 자와이네 딘디스 롱주기 중화디 제가 규메바다 게메발 때는 자와이네 중화 말아봤어.
So today we have gathered here for the Dharma discussion, and we all are in one place, and we are engaging into, having the enjoyment of having proper food and then having Dharma discussion in this conducive environment. And that's not something that doesn't have any causes and condition.
제산디 인디가네다 다웨트나 차시디가네 덴데 좀해야디 말아서 남기네 따와지디가네 카셰기디 군족스 버스 카셰기 라이고 버스 당 알아서디 정말로다 레질 때네 중화 가소리 이지지고 봐.
No. So from the point of view of understanding, there are proponents who say that this gathering happens because God has made this, or some thoughts also say that God has created this. But from a Buddhist perspective, we believe in the law of karma, and so we trust that the karma that has been accumulated has brought us together today.
제산디 인디가네다 ngarangi다 지 이제다 다지 사말라 ngaran지 개왕가만 남소 다지 딘데님도 좀 해야기 지금 레다면함 덴데 태여서 ngaran디 다 이지시기였어.
So with this understanding, I fully trust that in the previous lifetimes we all may have a karma of coming together today, and we made our strong aspiration prayer for this gathering.
제가 덴데 레디 다 셈기 샤샤발 셈기 자와치를 마도 저기 레디 셈기 마도 저기 가서다 심중식 지체고 봐. 지디간에 고 셈기 셰디간에 예던 이슈는 시제 먼저 류마 이 숨게 그토네다.
So with this understanding, I recognize this as a karmic play that we all are coming together, and this karma is very much on mind factor. It's a mental factor, and so this karma is also part of encompassing all the body, speech, and mind. Particularly the mental factor that I see, this karma I recognize in this pattern.
죄송합니다. 대변해줄 자식이 내용을 줄려다 물렁도는 태열에 다른 자식이 내용을 한 줄다지 영화 예수님께 자와디 지금 미세 된다 템페토리아게 중요해 디인들간에 단대디 규제네 마음번에 내용을 한 줄다지 달바다 단죄 김도 고마마도 버도 지기질이야 다 주로 제제
So this is purely from the past life karma and the aspiration prayer that we have made dedication. And today we have gathered here, so we all are engaging ourselves with the virtuous body, speech, and mind, having a very purposeful and meaningful life. And this will become a conducive course for us to have the future to go to the path to the liberation and to the fully awakening enlightenment state. So I trust and make a strong aspiration prayer today that we have this very close dharmic friendship. So in terms of the place within the scripture, it has says that numberless places, and the elements within that is numberless. But when we really closely look today here, we have gathered here in this conducive environment of Sravasti Abbey.
그래서 딘데기 단다 구유 상고 아니 내자 전부 다 공부 잡고 차려 공부 자신부디 야디 유메게멜 때문에 좋아 말어 왔어.
So this Sravasti Abbey is a holy place, it's a precious place, and it's a monastic community that has been built up. And so to have this established, that is not just came into existence by itself, it definitely has come from causes and conditions.
저산디 누가나다 디미 당부토마 도스제제 다지 주디 진이디 안다 가서 그러서 겸어다 아니 되지잖아 저거로 되네 아니 겸바 같이 되게 디슈기 디체버 되네 다리 고요성부인데 중화되는 게 다지 아니 그린지 된다 도시시유스.
So of course this place Sravasti Abbey has come to existence because of the founder Venerable Thupten Chödrön, and also some of the seniors here, venerables. They have worked very hard, so it is my honor to pay my gratitude to each one of you.
저산다 먼저 따와디 지대 고바고 켈링이 지다 군족 수요발이야 차시기나 다리다 venerable children 군족당 지대 고바고 차르다스.
Yes. So, in terms of the view, if we believe in the God has created, then this Sravasti Abbey is created by Venerable Thupten Chödrön.
대체 그랬다 나라서 담겨래달 레그 코샤베이다 지대 고바고 코샤베이다 다들 아주 다와디다 나라서 타체래도.
So, here from the point of view, whether it has been created by God or it has been created by karma, we ourselves has to, see what has created this.
저봐 이거는 니 아주 디리 근데 내 계시시 다 디인도가 나랑서 지된디 날이야다 지 나랑서 미상말로야 지 미지다 레와시 된데 고도 왔어.
So, being in the existence, it is very imperative to have a goal and have a hope within ourselves.
제산디 인도가네다 미더라와 구이도가네 남주네다 가서랑 알아서 강사 다 던지 쉬버나시는 도와리도 강사 수도 수인네야 미소야데 알아서 차시고는다 미지 된다 템바다 기버싱이지 다 미디니니 조 송고에서를 차대기도.
So there are various individuals, and so as pointed out, they are sentient beings into these 6 realms, and we all have some kind of goal. So it is very important that we have a meaningful purpose, and then also wanting to have happiness. So these two, having purpose and then desire to have happiness, these 2 components are something very essential.
다네시 로리도 용조디 아니지 양초치는 삼는 당배나 지 대화 되바다 동해면 되바다 직부지가인 바다 예수고에 말고 전수 당선시면도 다가라와 다들 용조 직부에도 왔어.
No. And something that is common to all these beings existing in these 6 different realms, there is one common thing that is common to all of the beings is wanting happiness and do not want any kind of suffering. And that's something very obvious, and you all know. I'm just doing here a gentle reminder.
지마라 대두가네다 대화도 동에 두고요 말이데 이내 대화되는 양 대화마용 아니 동해지용 동에 두고요 말이데 동에디 세마도 그제 양 동에 못는 용한테 제산다 고직 랑가지 노르되게 유서로 봤어.
Even though there's a strong desire to happiness, but to accumulate that happiness causes doesn't know the conducive condition that brings about happiness, so it changes into suffering, and the sentient beings doesn't want suffering at all, but do not know how to rectify the suffering nature. So it is very obvious there is something wrong in terms of not knowing the path properly.
제자디 인도간다 먼저 토마년 당복하나 대화도 동에 원진 거야 되게 좀 그래도 대화세 간지를 쓰고 그래 동에서에 간지를 쓰고 그랬어.
So it is very important from the very outset, from the initial stage, it is very important to really understand and recognize what is the happiness, what is true happiness, and what is suffering. That understanding is so imperative from the very outset.
제자디 인도간다 망고지 대화단 동행이디 아니 툭 뭐제마도 들렸대네 다 대화다 동행이 아니 지 세고에데 세마도 아니 톱고에데 토마도 두시 추추고 있어라.
So many beings they mix up, and do not recognize what is the happiness and what are suffering, not understanding the happiness and suffering clearly. They mix it up, and so because of that confusion and the mixing, then they do not attain proper happiness, and they do not know how to remove the suffering.
제자디 인도간다 말한주 단다 나주기 나로리야 동해들라 동해기 동해 규르 동해 캬바두지 동해스 제제 파 야와당 카세부도 제제 숨고도와.
So for us Buddhists, the understanding of the suffering is categorized into three different sufferings: suffering of suffering, change of suffering, and the pervasive or conditional suffering.
그래서 디니가네다 동해기 동해세에 되네다 저와 동해 그런지 있는 주목하지. 될래야다 지 저여고네다 지 동해들라 지 다차랑 동해를 소바도 쓰지 아니 이기도네 이기다 지 이미대를 소바. 그래서 다 동해기 동해 생시셔 봐라.
No. And so in terms of the suffering of suffering, it is something that is obvious that we experience on a sensational level of being too hot or too cold. On a mental level, the restlessness and uneasiness. So those those fall under the category of suffering of suffering.
지산다 디 맞아 된주 좋아다 년주 좋아 참에게다 문지지 두고 요러왔어.
And this is something that can be recognized easily by all these six realms. Both the favorable as well as the unfavorable can recognize this suffering.
No. 다 교회 동에서 디간에야 다 도서야 십서리도 간다 대직 주주도 상말로. 그래서 나중에 교회 동에디 동에기 차시셔 그러마도 지기 지 대외기
So now the place that comes more tricky, it comes from the change of suffering. And in the change of suffering, from a Buddhist perspective, it is not recognized as a happiness. It's very obvious that it changes. So the recognition of change of suffering is falls under this category.
말한저 저에 처리야 다지 또당 고에당 담라 속에든지 다지 직된배기 다디 대화디 맞아 나중에 시디 직된배 대화디 다 맞아 나중에 시디 고 동에기 다 오다 동에기 랑신샤 되고라.
Just as the worldly beings who runs or chase after having proper food, proper, dress, and the proper shelter, and and the praise and recognition, all those are very much a worldly people that they seek. And from the Buddhist perspective, these are very much the change of suffering. No. So basically, then it is amenities of food, for clothing, and then praise and recognition. That also falls under the category of the 8 worldly concerns. So for true Dharma seekers, they have to remove these 8 worldly concerns. But for a worldly being, these 8 worldly concerns are something that one seeks and wants to attain. Yes. So the suffering and the change of suffering, they don't come about just without any causes or condition. They have causes and condition, just like I have explained earlier. So these two change of suffering is very much based on the pervasive and the conditional suffering. So when we look closely, then the suffering is very much experienced with the unfavorable state also. And change of suffering is very much apparent to the favorable states. And this change of suffering that comes into the favorable beings, particularly in the desire realm. So when we try to dissect, the change of suffering is very much experienced more into the desire realm, particularly in the human realm. But as we go higher into the realms of form and formless realm, then the change of suffering is not much experienced into as you go higher up into the realms of. And so when we look into the all-pervasive and conditional suffering, that is suffering that is experienced from the very top, the peak state, to the lowest state of hell realm. And it is pervasive. It is something that is more like it encompasses everything. So, and it's spread around to the whole of the 3 different realms. So that's something to recognize. No.
조와 차와다 당황을 수배 동네다 아니 일 미디어 용화다 냥에 용화도 동네게 가서 뭐 진투지 다 교회 동네들이랑 먼저 다 남주 지대미 다 저도고 담송을 쏘가다 지대 최계를 쏘가든서 남양 안주기 다 지금 톱자다 기우지기 월때 뒤에 교회 동네 다 잡아도 저 동네에서 간대지는 것이 시선에 뒤니게 시중에 안도 사진 야war림 풍부디 다 잡아도 저 동네 진시당 문제 되셔도
So then when we try to bring to the crux of the matter is the suffering of suffering is something very apparent, being extremely hot or cold on a physical sensational level, and on the mental level is uneasiness and the anxiousness and all those. And the change of suffering is very much about driven by having proper clothing, amenities, dress, and then all the praise and recognition, and very much into the 8 worldly concern, the change of suffering. And the basis of the first and the second suffering is based on the all-pervasive and the conditional suffering. And so all these suffering is that comes from having these aggregates.
동해 세토야다 동해 방토야디 말아주있다 갈간서 지투고 봐. 근데 교회 동해래양 교회다 교회 동해양 방제 말아주다 지 고메 때려야다 지게투야로서 보다 근데 배수 지투고 봤어.
So suffering of suffering is something that we all can try to remove to a certain extent, and then also with the change of suffering, if we persevere, we can remove these apparent change of suffering, and then have the potential to be born into the form and formless realms. No.
이 누가는 매버스도 그래. 다 니니니게 시중에 사제 냐왈림 풍부스도 간에다 사제 니니니게 시중에 사제 냐왈림 풍부됐다. 아는 방나틱세래 방나틱사 말다 디삼당도.
So what is important is can we now, these two sufferings are very much based on having these contaminated aggregates. Now we have to really get to the essence and then really reflect that do we want to remove these contaminated aggregates or not? And that's an open question to all.
그래서 근데 그간저 디니니기 시중에 사제 냐왈림 풍부디 방디 매버 차나는 알아서 매버 차도 말했어.
So the basis for suffering of suffering and change of suffering is very much from the having these contaminated aggregates. But if you want to remove and try to remove these contaminated aggregates, then where will that be the I? So I will be not there, right? If I is not there, then how can we attain liberation and awakening final state? Isn't that so? If that's the case, then whatever hard work that we really put into perseverance, it went to waste. So if that's the case, that that I is not there, then wouldn't that be better that not to have a purposeful in that way? Then wouldn't that be better just to engage into worldly activities? So in that way, now what is important is to really understand the 5 aggregates the 5 aggregates of form, feeling, discriminative, and the compositional form, and the consciousness. So these 5 aggregates, to really understand, it's very imperative.
Right. that the ngaranzuli sugu pumbo, zoe pumbo, dishe pumbo, number ship pumbo, the summer menane ania ngaranzu kansa do mendosta. The samalo le shembeta kansa she user use maris.
It is very important to critically, deeply reflect the 5 aggregates, and these 5 aggregates are part of this individual I, and are these existed or not non-existence? So this kind of critically analyzing is very important. Isn't that so?
제산디 인디간에 다 아니 두스제 당아주 두스제 롭스 슈기슈기제 아니 되네 안삼지 도어드네 지기지기제 아니 마신에 아주 디날이야 전주 람드 딩에네 람드 다지 돌이야 토섬 무슨 제년이 가져이나 사바 가져이나.
Yes. So with this kind of discussion, we'll go on for the next couple of days, to have. And then Geshe would like to know that how many of you have received the text teachings prior to him, Lamb, for the path of enlightenment. Please raise your hand who have received. So looks like the greater audience hasn't received this teaching. The text, lamp for the path of enlightenment. Yeah. Chida Lamrim sunju kwanzo kashi khengo res. Ni chanju lamrim di chugmashimdo gela.
아니요. 이제 안에 두 지도간에다 단다 저번에 독서지에 줘봐. 이 도스지에 변하다 주진이 시에 말해.
Long.
진짜 당보다.
Long.
주진이기 돈에 주지직스 중에 도스만 제시캡 안 되네. 저번에 독서지에 야가도 야 독서기디 양지 가서래. 아주 소다야. 나 딜레 넘버 셴도 제시 촌나야가도 디간데스야가도.
Geshe is asking to hear that we have 2 hours session for the morning. So what would be appropriate? Would it be suitable for you all that he gives a discourse on the teaching from 9 to 10 and from 10 to 11 Q&A session or question and answer session? Or would you like to do the Q&A section differently? He's just asking what is most appropriate.
어디 직제 되는 이버들라 디고 레니버들리가 숨버들라다 람드인디 말에다 겨울음치다 딘라마고 뭐 군디네 담하고 터비에 sonsa 아니디 롱고 소리지 들인 차사다 거기 까마가시지다 두고를 봤어. 그냥 디 대전에 고쳐서 사두래. 아니 이내고 대시가 주시디 가서 두두들이 잡도야 되게 겸어든 하비네 이게 여러 섬서 챙기면도.
So, and then on, Geshe says that in terms of this teaching, for the path of enlightenment, he has received from His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and from many great lamas. He has received many of these transmission and commentaries. So, for you all who are attending this teaching of Geshe, definitely you all will receive today the whole transmission of this teaching. But in terms of the going from each of the verses, we have to see to the time frame, and that but he will try his best to go through the text. So he wants to let everyone know.
저는 저 질량 돈의 제 가인스나 도저 돈의 제에 한 저 질량 권의 도스 제에 양한주 주 도선 보험 제약이고 야 아무것도 쓰는 도스 상부진의 도와서만 당말 준비돼 있겠네 도와 맨날 싫어하는 것 자식이나 저 질량 권의 도스 때는 밥셔봐 디인데가는 한 디펜더 체에나 당 알아서 예던 이슈는 실제 매조 왜냐를 되된 주전 거든 때는 알아서 상만하다 있지 주로 지고를 차인 순서 안고 나서던데 제베나 디펜더 체 용러지나 알아야 안 딜로 돼야 수도
So, and the reason Geshe has asking you all that would you like to have also a session with Q&A is that because from the traditional Buddhist way is all about hearing the teaching, contemplating it and meditating it. And so when we look closely into the classical text of Heart Sutra, it is very much the Q&A kind of thing, which would be very appropriate because you all have received a lot of classical teachings. So if there is any kind of clarification or doubt, and he will try his best to explain those. And of course, Venerable Thupten Chudala, because of her, we have this such a conducive environment to have this kind of discussion, open, and we can do it in this fashion because now we all are Dharma friends. So what would be the best, Venerable, and everyone?
An hour and a half of teachings and a half an hour.
Yes, sir. 아니 톱딘 치료를 해주나 아니 gelagi sunju manae de chuju chik de chega na thona pe thebinsu sares an chuju chega de ani chotine gi tuju shana ani chuju ni gi gyurum de tendes china khande yunas okay so we will do what Venerable wish so we will do our best.
먼저 람드마 디치드가나 당부 토마토마 다양 슝시드가나 그냥 전역도 연구 있길때 저 sabjeta 아니 슝고 코라마 셰당 조단시요래 한 디시존에 양전에 약을 줬어. sabjeta 여와다 안 코라코라 셰다비야나 나스제제 셰도야 나네 군의 슝야 코라 제시 조단시요로.
Yes. So when we go into the classical texts, just in general, there are ways of how to explain it, and then hope you won't get bored. But they are classical ways of doing that, and different categories within that. Yes.
지선 남기나 중 레레야 당부 고소 취시시제 고바 닝구 주자 대화슬리도
고바 닝구
주자 대화.
So when we do the classical text or explanation, we really need to see what is the purpose of having this particular classical text, and then the essence of the text, and then the functional explanation on this, and the commentary on this particular classical text. So that's how normally it goes.
지선 고바세야 될래야 고바들래다 먼저 내가 고바다 더도 고바니 여러마다 맞아 고바다.
Yes. And so in terms of the purpose can be categorized into something that is temporary purpose, and then there's ultimate purpose.
지선 인구세야 돼. 또저 달바다 탐색이 맞으셔도.
And then when we try to look into the essence of the practice, then that essence is always towards the liberation, nirvana, or the final state of awakening of Buddhahood.
난 주제디 아니 슝디기 다만 주역이 아니 다 된다더래. 딜리아 주저스기도. 주저이도 간다 단다 남적 값을 주셔야 된다. 기부스미 남샤티 주저셔고라.
And then comes the functional capacity of that particular text and the expression of the words within that text. And so, in particularly for the Lamb, for the path of enlightenment, the expression of the words is that he focuses on the three scope of individuals. No. Three scope of individuals, how to move towards the path. So then the commentary is, within the commentary, the temporary purpose is that we hear the teaching and then contemplate on the teaching. That's the temporary purpose.
지단디난 제바세디 제시기 제바데다 두데 이네 제바데 디르다 가인스나 조응하란즈다 미 터두 닝구도 두는데 그나 타바다 탐제 김벽 공부 두고기나 타바다 탐제 김벽 공부데 좀 공도 주변에 시제 지 규메 게멜 야지 강사 시행식이 도도 제임을 써보다 근데 미드잖네 근데 라니 규기 타바다 탐제 김벽 공부한디 아니 고발에 되는 연구를 해서
So in terms of the explanation of this, is the temporary purpose is listening to the teaching and contemplating on the teachings, and then and that has to come through the relating to a different causes coming into interplay, and then explanation on that is the essence of the practice has to be always for the attainment of the nirvana or liberation and the awakening state of enlightenment. So to have all these come into play, just like I said earlier, this doesn't come for no causes or no condition, or nor someone has imposed on us or created on us, but it has to be engaged from conducive causes, and that will also relate to the purpose. What is the purpose that leads to? So this kind of relating to each other is also important when we go into the explanation of the teaching. No.
타바탄 탐제 겸보 공바디 고발에 되는 준두가는 고바디 가르스나 단다 디값수 숑디 주제 기부스무기 남게 남샤디 다 간다르 수수 셰브제디 고발 디두가네 된데 기부스무기 남게 남샤디 아니 수수 셰네 디 냠슬람발라 때네 터도 가르토 그래서나 터도 닝구 아니 타바탄 탐제 겸보 공바 토그레스 디시고라.
So the ultimate purpose is for the nirvana and the ultimate state of full awakening, enlightenment state. But to understand this ultimate purpose, it is very important to really understand from each one of you. It's very important to understand the three scope of individuals and how they gradually goes into the path of the practices, and that brings all the temporary purpose, which will lead to the ultimate purpose of the nirvana and the ultimate state of awakening, enlightenment. So these interrelational things is very imperative as we move into the path of practice. Yes.
내가 고바 주벌라야 내가 고바 기부스게 남게 남샤디 수수기 셰버 제발라양 숑 디기 죄절이야 거기 인디간에 재산단다 람드디기 죄절라 아니 기부스게 남게 남샤디 람드디기 가르서 숑 디기다 죄제샤데요라 소디.
So to have the temporary purpose to attain, it is very imperative to understand the three scope of individuals and the characteristics and all these, because these will bring to the ultimate state. And so for this particular text, Lamp for the Path of Enlightenment, the main focus is really to understand these three scopes of individuals.
저기 누가나 다 된대 저저디 기부송게 랑게 남샤디 수수 셰버 제발라 셰베 탈란트 가르세나 아니 토섬 곰스모 거니 시기로 봐.
So now to understand this three scope of individuals, it is imperative to do the extensive hearing, extensive contemplation, and extensive meditation.
되지. 다디 된대 슝디 아주 친예 지도자네 다 셰베 양라데라 셰데 양라가스 셰데 양라가데야 고드 두두 직드 참저 겔렌스 지제 디셰데 양라가에 고네 안디 Geshe Gendun Samdup 시제리도와.
고대.
고대. 두두. 아니 직드. 아니 참저. 아니 게글레 파수다. 도주제바.
Now, when it comes to the explanation of this teaching, again, there are 5 important elements or points that is really important when we do this kind of teachings. First is the purpose, and then getting the crux of the matter second, and then and the third is what is the word explanation, the tsitu, and then and the next is how they have come into combination, and the last one is about going through further discussion. So these 5 elements are necessary when you discuss on this kind of teaching. No.
고추도 간에 가르스는 예래야 처벌을 주신 셰벌 담자마다 한 슝의 셰바스 아니 유강한 때는 잡았어 지제 삼시 숨을 주고다 뭐 처벌을 주지 아니 셰벌 담자왔어.
So now when we begin the lamp for the path of awakening, its first opening is praise offering, and also then it also why this text has been composed. So that's how the flow of the teaching of the lamp for the path to awakening.
다 된저기 처벌 주신 셰벌 담자바텔라 아니 가서 그래. 단대딘 담주 수수주도 간다 직시디 도스미겨와 탐제 다단 디취 긴든남라 고버침비 차제대 수도 간에 처벌 줘봤지. 로마 상부 전주 얘기 꾸규베 잠주 남기 좀 알아도 세월 차스 셰벌 담자와. 다 처벌 줘봤다 셰벌 담자와디 디 직시디겠다 도스제 숨버와.
Yes. So we go to the lamp for the path to awakening, the text, and when we look into the first verse, I pay homage with great respect to all the victorious ones of the 3 times, to their teaching and to those who aspire to virtue. Urged by the good disciple Chanchu, I shall illuminate the lamp for the path to awakening. And this first verse of the text, it really clarifies, as a praise offering, and also the purpose of the text.
인도간에 따단당 아주 저벌다 셰벌 담자와디 이직디 단다 시제시디체 다 딩어들이야 슝디기 레야 센들이야 전주 남고 드마스 제제 주변에 선사 다 생기 된당 안단다 규차스 제제 규르기 차스 제제 디니니지 당원 조고 거래 생기 된 셰바다 아니 규차기 슝기 된스 제제. 지도가네 된데기 생기 된다 귤기 차 된배 슝데라 아니 전주 전주 남기 드마시 아니 전주 셈바 잠배 슈는 교바나 차체로 세대 다 귤차래.
And so prior to this first verse, when you go to the title of the text, the lamb for the path to awakening, it symbolizes the teaching is for the to the awakening state, and for the awakening state to attain that, then the text made a supplication offering to homage to the Bodhisattva youthful Manjushri.
다 단단 아주 단단 빠르게야기디 차비디 나라래 전주 남기 주마체 전주 선바 잠배 쉬는 교나 차세로 시제 디마도 지기 단다 고랑기 중문시 중앙에 나라야 디나라 가르도스나 야가르께도 부디 바다 디밤세 아니 벽에도 전주 남기 주마세 하시와 다 단다 중디 시단 시순제나 디게시 붙여거래 아이스는 생기돼 저기 차 아니 슝구도 시제 숨리고라 이들가나 생기돼 시야 되려야다 단다디 생디 고고다.
So in the commentary, the text, when we look into the root text verse, and then it says to the lamb for the path to awakening, and then it also says where it is come from, Gyagarkedu, and then in the Sanskrit is Bodhipata. The root Sanskrit word for that, and then the Tibetan, the Chanjulam Kitama. So it really shows how it has come from the source, the very source from the Sanskrit, and then also translated into the Tibetan what it is stated.
자, 산스크리트기 센티간 고고에 되네. 게레야 바샤샤다. 아니 슝디 쿵디. 아니 또 제제 야 쿵두비 임베 균전 때네. 아니 디 가서 산스크리트 야게메고에디 고베 균전 디시기도.
Having the Sanskrit word is to have imprint to the listeners' mind stream, and also it also authenticates where the source has come from.
그래서나다 대베 상계 남라이네레 다데 상계이네레 자매기 중국 당국군도 있잖아요. 다 산스크리트 발리토네 중국 고기도 간에 아니 딘제기 다 간다. 저거 두고게 아니 저송백갑이야. 아니 디 다디 두젤이야 계제 아니 디 계리야 수수기다 롱주토야게 아니 바샤샤야다 레다 소남사야게도 아니 야게메 고바도스레도.
And the purpose is that having all the Buddhas of the past and the Buddhas now, when they give the teachings, they tie to the source, and then which is Sanskrit as well as Pali. And the reason of doing that is to have a imprint, and then also associate how this source has come from. And then also we have a make an imprint of that and have a conducive karma, and then also accumulate merit by having the Pali and Sanskrit.
다데네 생기 되는데라 아니 장주 남기 드마스도 간에다 장주 식제 람스제제 남기 드마스제제 된다니 소리리도.
So when we try to dissect the title of the text, Chanchu Lamgi Dharma, is Chanchu is the fully awakening state, and Lamgi Dharma is the illuminating that through the lamp, you know.
다 장주스야 될이야 장와다 추버스 된다 니리고라 장와스도 매버스야 되거네 다 교인다 지바 잘해나 gyönda tiba changwa, gyönda tiba pangwa, gyönda tiba meba suba na changsla wora, changsina meba suba.
So when we look into the word changchup, the awakening state, the changchu, we try to dissect the syllables changchup. Chang is to really remove the impurities within ourselves. No.
장 매바 가르 수버스나 다 tiba니, tiba딜라다 윤집다 시집스.
So the impurities that we want to purify is the impurities of the afflicted mental state and the cognitive obscurations. So these two are something that needs to be purified and removed.
다 윤집딜라 아니 안도 남제 디 셔바는 이제 가셔야 되나 자외 뉴모바 둘러서 같은 소리가 윤집.
So when we try to go delve into the afflicted mental state, then those are the 6 root negative mental state.
아니 되네 시집스 시집.
And then the other category is the cognitive obscuration.
근데 지번이데 빵빵 아니 매바 나 아니 장스도 매바 수버죠.
So when we remove these two impurities of the afflicted mental state and the cognitive obscuration, and when we overcome or remove these, that's what Chang is implying to.
제자다 지번이 시고를야 지번 숨시제 윤집 시뒤 아니 뇽죽 지버스제 야 지번이 레신베 야 뇽죽 지버디 조 3대 다 근데 신에다 띵에서 파트 주식 지버질 뇽죽 지버스 3대 기당무시당 얘도 도저히 지버지요라 될 뇽죽 지버스다 지버 숨샤야지 요라.
And there are also 3 categories of the impurities. Sometimes the first one is the afflicted negative emotions, second is the cognitive obscuration, and the third is also in terms of the impurity in terms of the concentration. So it is very much within the concentration, and so these are obstructions in relation to concentration and the calm abiding meditation. So these also are part of impurities.
다 추바스도 간에 토바 아니 수수 심바 하나 수술 댐바 된데질다 춥스고라.
Yes. Then that comes the chang, and the chup, the second syllable chup, is understanding, knowing, and attaining. So that kind of implication, it implies the word itself.
지도간에다 추바스도간에 댐바스도간에다 아소리 시저 탐지 캠바 댐바레스 라 아니 시저 탐지에다 수수 콘도 추바레스 다가는 신기 심제기 되는시야기 아니 람기 남샤다 탑당 셔르부터게 상모다 수술이야 추바단 댐바인 소사 아니 춥스도간에 어디르다.
Yes.
댐바다 토바다 도자 털도 토바.
Yes. So chup implies having attained the full state, is a great knower of everything. So it's knowing the phenomena as it is, and also understanding the disposition of the sentient beings, and then know how to show. What to show, what kind of path to show, so they will have attained the skillful means and the skillful means or method and the wisdom to show. So it really is the attaining that knowing state implies the chup.
저선디인데가나 다된데 칭니추 dom디잖는데 장춥시래 적장시르와.
So then, so when we try to combine the 2 syllables together is changchup, which is attaining the highest state or attaining the full enlightenment, dzogchang. So this understanding comes from those two syllables.
잔디가 내가 남주 먼저 가서 상계기 공방 시기도와 상와다 개바 대디니가 나 침벌아 창조해야 되는 상계기 공방 아니 조장 아니 창조기 공방 시제 도스티가 내다 근데 상계 창조 아니 조장세디 다단데 디컵 때에 아니 톱자 털도 미 털도 드셔고라.
So the complete state of awakening or the ultimate enlightenment state and then the Buddhahood, these are different synonyms, but they imply the same meaning of the ultimate enlightenment. And that's our ultimate goal, to attain the final state of the Buddhahood.
저선디인들은 내가 저 고소 취식이 나네 닝구세야디 다 가서래 닝구세야디 간저 고바터도 미유터도 샤소와 디네시 다 고소 취식나네 된데기 닝구 터도 주야디 아니 조장당 아니 장주고 공방당 아니 상기기 공방디 다 디금네 대비 닝구 아니 미유터도 톱저 터도 되제 근데 톱을 제베기 다 탑디 가르스나 아니 람게 드마티레스
No. So just as I have explained earlier, that to explain this text and extract the essence is imperative. So the goal here is that to reach to the final state of nirvana and enlightenment. These are the clear goals to attain, and in order to attain that, then we engage into a proper method, and that method here is the lamp. So that's why it's a lamp for the path to awakening or the Buddhahood.
다 람들이야 하는 간전 남준에 가서 람 마노와 안에 차창하지 거라서 오라 남준에다 거라 함들라다 람 마노와 저다 남 차창하지.
So for the path, it's so important that we should not be on the wrong path. It should be a proper path, and then that path has to be a complete path. So it's very important to have those elements within the path.
저자다 람 차상와 고디잖아 가르스나 탑단 시럽니게 람 창하시고라.
So to have a complete path, that it is so important to have both the skillful method and the wisdom. Both needs to have in order to have complete path.
저한테제 다파 예와지도 전에 람들라 남기네 람가 숨정아스 제제 봐 아니 조남 조남 통남 고람 밀로람 제제 디
And then for the path, and then we have the 5 parts of path of accumulation, path of preparation, path of seeing, path of meditation, and path of no more learning. So those sequential order are imperative.
디파 예와제비나 손남 조남들라 아니 닌도기 손남조나 남nga 랑게기 손남조나 남nga 대쟁기 손남조나 남nga체 디셰두가네 남nga 대셰두가네 디미 전주들래야 아니 닌도기 장주 랑게기 장주 아니 상게기 장주 시제 한 두스 디어다 야와여바
No. And then when we go into these 5 paths, they are again categorized into 3 different practitioners. The here is vehicle, and the Patika Buddhas, and then the Bodhisattva. So each of the practitioners have these 5 categorization uniquely to each of their categorization, and also the ultimate state of the enlightenment also is very unique to each of the seekers. So dissected these 3 categories, but having the same 5 paths, but are very much unique. The final state is also unique to each one of them. No.
지산디 인디가는 다딜 라마의 시그제 하는 간주 군조 순군나네 추 군조 시고를 다 람스테제 저 군조 군조 뭐마데 디차테 거라.
So this explanation follows the path of the practice, and this is the true recognition of the Dharma jewel.
근데 추 군조 뭐마 셔도 간다. 근데 추에다 돈바상게 좀되기 때문에 손사 도마라 지도간에 때야 될래야다 좀되기 때문에 추분 기지 시동을 써봐도 때문에 되간에 되게 참에다 람기 주 돌두제 냠sol랑 대부지다 아니 돌두부지다 차창화지 아니 되면아시 아니 중되기 땡기 인스체제 디송거라.
Yes. So Lord Buddha has given extensive amount of teaching of 84,000 volume of teachings, and and all these paths have a complete path of the practices. So this particular text, the lamp for the path to awakening, also encompasses all the complete path to practice.
지금에 된대기 다 슝디 조 중에디 다음에 당고 토마디 재산 빨리다 섬지기 계획 돌아야 중샤바디 다 치수 말한주 기리수수 냠내지도 전에 아니 벽을 소규도 전에 소규리에서 균이 있다 로자와 남기 규도 전에 아니 전주선바 참배슈는 교발라 차체로 규도 전에 아니 규를 갑려야 추슈디 안 지순 참배야라 아니 믹스기 추바추 인승거라.
So the going to the background of this teaching as the authentic source that came from the language of the Pali and the Sanskrit, and then over time now it is available in different languages, and these are being propounded by different translators at each different time frames. And so here at the beginning of the praise offering, it is praise to homage to the Bodhisattva, youthful Manjushri. Yes.
저서 인디건 다 규샤기 갑려야 셔베주베 유이데려야 다 가서래 유숨샤고라. 규샤가 갑라.
Yes. When the translation of the text text is done, then it is that offering opening has three components.
숨디다 탐제 kim발라 차체로 시디가네 상게 좀대대 주베 유드샤 직체. 얘네 상게다 전주선바 탐제라 차체로 시셰. 직체. 아니 되네 잠배슈는 교발라 차체라 시디 주진 잠배야라 믹스해샤 직체.
So within the praise, the first opening praise offering is homage to the Bodhisattva youthful Manjushri. In that, the elements that are within that is normally the praise of offering is done first to the Buddha, and the second is all the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas. And now in this particular text, the third element is, it is specifically praise has been, homage has been done to the Manjushri.
지두가네 당아주 냠술내야 되라 남기네 라버스 단다 얘기 람세네미도 람들로 주 도네 라버스무 쉐고라 라버스무 가래 라버 추tim기 라바 아니 띵엔징기 라바 아니 쉐럽기 라바스 라버스무르와.
And then now, following the path of practice, there are three paths of trainings one need to engage in: the training of morality, the training of concentration, and the training of wisdom.
주두간에다 라바숨도 땡야기 저자 라바숨도 땡베기 땡주들이야다 남균에 도디되는 되되는 원베되는 시제 되는 숨쉬고라 되는 숨 슝숨.
And then for these three trainings to be explained, then the three basket of teachings are imperative. So the three basket of teachings, they comply to the three trainings of the training of morality, training of concentration, and the training of wisdom.
ane tembe shungdela an tamje kimbala chatse los choba di jugore di Quran rodan dan timchire.
So when we do the praise to the Buddha, and then it implies also to the from the three baskets of teaching is the teaching of the sutric path.
Wow. 다 데네스 띵인진 데네 다 가서 숑소 주제진 띵이들라 아니 저거는 상계다 전주선 바탐전을 찾아서 시티 주어라.
And in terms of the praise to the Buddhas and Bodhisattva, then it's the implication here is the training of concentration.
다 단대디 아니 잠배양의 차세로 잠배양의 차세 아니 슝디 당원배 되네 되는 순간에 원배 되네 도시 지도가는 주저조 시럽게 라바조진 된거 있으시죠.
Yes. So then the praise of opening element of praising on this particular text is the homage to the Manjushri, and then that falls under the category of the training of the wisdom. And so that's why this particular text is in relation to wisdom, and that's why the praise is done to Manjushri.
지도가 당한주 슝디 다른 친예 지도 전에 슝디 친예 지야 공원다 아니 양라니 양라 수시대다 얘기 조차래 양라 수시대 뒤르다 와 생기된 규기차 어디 전전당 규자가 수시대다 도수시제 양라도 아니 다 슝의실을 말리더가네요 슝의시대 아니 슝의식이 셔버지에 슝데 아니 두숨 갸와 탐제다다 뒤치 인도나로 고바치미 차세 됐어요 데마다 슝의시들이 레고라.
Yes. So the homage to the Bodhisattva youthful Manjushri, when we look into this particular text of the Lamb for the Path to Awakening, it's a branch of the homage is a branch part of it. The actual the text starts from the first verse, which is I pay homage to the great with great respect to all victorious ones of the three times, to their teaching and to those who aspire to virtue. Urged by the good disciple Chanchuyue, I shall illuminate the lamp for the path to awakening. So that's from here starts from the first word, the actual teaching. And so that's how it is.
장줍세야데 장주 나갔으면 여바시 아니 람데라 아니 람망았으면 정아 대춘 돌되나 아니 라바숨 라바 추중기 라바 땡에징기 라바 시럽기 라바스.
Yes, sir. So of course you all will understand, but now the crux of the teaching today is subsumed into the understanding of the praise of homage goes to three elements, which is the Buddha, the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and the Manjushri, and then also there are 5 paths, and the 5 paths are being practiced by 3 different individuals, hearers, Pratyek Buddhas, and the Bodhisattva path, and the most important thing is what practices they engages in is the 3 trainings of the training of morality, training of concentration, and the training of wisdom. So this is the crux of this morning teaching, and hope you will retain this information.
다 라바스 때문에 중대라 하는 뒤에 되네다. 하는 도대 되네다. 뭔배 되네스 되네스.
And then these three trainings are explained into the three baskets of teachings of teaching of sutra, morality, and the reasoning. So these three baskets of teachings are tied to the three trainings, and that's also important to keep in mind.
디숨 냠슬 때네 터두근 드부든 드부 꾸숨 슬리로
And then by training into these practices, then one gain into the resultant state of three resultant state.
가이스는 롱고 두고 주고스.
And that attainment of the final attainment is the Sampodakaya, Nirmanakaya, and the Dharmakaya.
된대기 롱고다 두고 톱제기 규del에 조 안에 소나무 조다 이식 조니.
And then to attain to the Sampodakaya and the Nirmanakaya, then the causal factor is the extensive accumulation of merit and wisdom.
다 소나무 조 이식 조 시그레 야 탑단 셰럽 시그로 탑시 니에 시그로.
And then also we say that it is also a skillful means and method. Combination of these two will reach to the resultant state of Sambodhakaya and the Nirmanakaya.
지금 근데 탑단 셰럽 세야되기 고아디양 장춥 세야되니 간에 얘기도 와. 장와다 추바스도 간에 소나무 조다 이식 조 고아디 디토네 레도 보라.
No. Yes. So having extensive accumulation of merit and wisdom also ties to reach to that. We can also tie that to the fully awakening state. To attain that, you need these two: extensive merit and wisdom. So today we'll finish this morning discourse here. It's 10:28. So now we'll do Q&A. Yeah. Gisela needs to use the restroom. If any one of you need to go to the restroom, please do so. Is it okay? Yeah, fix it. Yes. To attend no. Thank you. 예, 갈 저기 요 내마데 저기 귀에서
Thank you so much for being here. That's the start. This question came up recently in a teaching, and I think it would be good for all of us to understand. We study the mental factors, the 51, so forth, and we recognize them as mental factors. We also study the 6 perfections and recognize that practicing those are actually a mental state. But with the exception of a couple, they're not named as mental factors. We're trying to understand what's the difference of having the mental state of practicing the 6 perfections and having a mental factor. Do you understand? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
샘다 심중.
Yeah.
샘다 심중 갈도 심중 어중 어직셔라. 심중 어중 어직디 군주 신기여스. 이네 퍼진 두 기념린 주디 퍼진 두 기념린 주디 퍼진 두 차산직 심중 책이 유연하면아스라 좋은데더라니 퍼진 두 디냠술랑 웨컵소 샘데라 카리샤오르 샘 다오레야 심중 라오르 심중 어징 날 수고르에 퍼진 두 디냠나 샘다 심중 가기 공도 도시르 디 공도 가리메디 콘소 가시고 보도사 샘데 퍼진 두디
For example, the mind of generosity, that's where we got stuck.
다 지금 한다가서 진배냠내 줘라. 진배냠내 기 샘질리기로 왔어. 근데 근데 진배냠내디 아니 직 심중나를 추고를 했어. 뭔데지?
그래. 답변은 진배냠내 소리지 차식이나 반주 진배냠내들이야. 남주 숨쉬어요 봐. 그래. 상생이 진바, 추기 진바, 아니 미지비 진바 쓰시제. 들을 숨쉬어요 와서.
So when we go into the perfection of generosity, within the perfection of generosity, there are 3 subcategories of generosity. So first is the supplying or being generous with items or and the second is to remove fear from others, to protect, and that's to protect somebody else from fear. That's another form of generosity, and the generosity of the Dharma. So these are 3 different subcategories within the perfection of generosity that we normally tie to in terms of perfection of generosity.
진짜 진바 숨 유디가네 진바 숨디 냠내 지디가네 디나라 류다 마다 아니 셈 숨게 기다 간다라 레디나 상대도.
So when we closely look into these 3 generosity, and these 3 generosity, when we engage our body, speech, and mind, all our faculties of body, speech, and mind engages fully when we engage into these 3 different subcategories of generosity.
가인스나다 상승기 진바다 미지비 진바 주디자네 상승기 진바 수되는 바로 것들로 고백이다 간다는 거부치 수수 류기 파 구조 잡지 파 진배 계제 인도가네 고디 류기 잡아 용서와 미지비 진바 소리 차도가네 바종을 간예 태버디 겹디자네 겹야디 류가 류 겹고 되가네 델레 류기 잡아 차소라서 지도가네 고 류기 레지다 류기 잡아지기 돈에 아니
No. So now let's try to dissect it and let's go to the first category of the generosity of supplying any kind of items or any kind of assistance. So when we try to assist somebody is in need of something, some item, whatever it is. So we use our body and in order to supply that item or whatever that the other person needs. So of course we engage our body fully. So this is a virtuous body action. And when it comes to protecting somebody for something. Again, we engage our body, virtuous body, in order to protect that somebody from any kind of fear or anxiousness. So again, this is a virtuous body action. Nasa.
당시 추기 침바 지도 전에 추기 돈에 발용하려야 다 간다. 추기 롭스기 하다 추시하블라서 가지고 되거네 고다 디 가서 상승이 침바다 추기 침바 추기 침바 자로
추기 침바디
딩하게 차서 나게 컨디션 나게 자와죠.
No. And then we go to the third category of generosity of Dharma. And generosity of Dharma is trying to give instruction to someone, give some advice, give some teaching to somebody else. So again, that is a virtuous karma that comes from speech.
제단디 이거는 딘데 류기 상신 류기 자외톤의 상신 지신 바다 아니 주저부터는 롭소 갸브샤블로서 되게 상말로 다 버징이 짐발이야 로다 만도세야디 다 고능라래서.
So then the generosity of supplying any kind of assistant of items, which is body action, and then also advising and giving instruction to somebody in order to protect them, through the speech of them. Now, whether this becomes a perfection of generosity relies fully on the intention of that individual.
제자다 룽하게 아니 상신다 추기 짐바 찍고 찍야래데 지된 추기고 온도 짐바 찍다 아니 군은 최저의 심배도는 짐바니리 개발치 좀 가서 줬었다.
And now let's look closely that the action of the body and speech could be similar in terms of doing that activity, but what is the intention of doing that? If the intention is purely from the 8 worldly concern, then it's not perfection of generosity. But if it's tied to the dharmic intention, then it falls under the perfection of generosity. So all this demarcation happens from the intentional point of view.
디나네 그냥 디니 개발지에기 뉴바드마스네 숙치슈디 다 동에 셈바세 디르 차도라 다간다 오늘 짐바로다 만도세 동에 셈바세 디간레 다고데.
So what is the most important thing within the element of the perfection of generosity as wanting to do it, or to give, without any kind of clinkingness or stinginess, and that really ties to the perfection of generosity. That wanting to give it without any stinginess, that mental factor is it's in the mental factor. Within the fifth one, it's a part of mental factor.
대단님들이야 장주기 셈게 셈소나 장주기 셈디 다 셈다 셈주니기는 조심이 손자 제가 조심당 아니 셈중다 룡하게 레다 숨게기 셈고도 왔어.
So here the not having any kind of stinginess and wanting to do, that is a mental factor. And then if your intention is hold by for the complete state of awakening, that mind is the main mind, and then the engaging of the body and speech. So all these we have to really think about.
다 디나는 학벌도야 동유도베 시라고 있었나? 아니 동유도베 시랍디 아니 셈다 셈주니게 나는 조심 책이 손사 다 단대 디투베이나 아니 탑시니게 있으니 아니 조장기 교례도니 셈다 셈주니게 내가 지고니 디 책말을 명하게 내 지고 있으거나 령아 이숨게기 자와 계친부 아니 탑단 시럽니가 있게 친구 디 인디간다 상모 창고에 지단 부숨 초고에 차서다디.
And then if that perfection of generosity is held with the intention of the wisdom realizing emptiness, then that wisdom realizing emptiness is the main mind. So having all this conducive thing within your intentional setting and doing your engagement of the body, speech, and mind, then it encompasses both the skillful means of method and the wisdom realizing emptiness. So the combination of both the skillful method and the wisdom is that then it becomes that it has encompasses all conducive positive strength with this kind of perfection of generosity.
이 누가는 땅 완전 남준에 kursun 미메베 개답이야디 개침부르세야디 아니 진제가 뭐고 아니 진게 디숨게 kursun 미메기 개답이나 아니 슈준 네가 침부 소니가 조유윤이 네가 침부 차상아 제사 아니 남만노와다 차상아다 아니 남침부세야디 차루다.
And then the important here is that it's called Korsum Mimipa is that there are three elements which are important when it want to be tied with the wisdom realizing emptiness is that the object that you are giving to the recipient, the item that you are giving, and the person who is giving. These three these three doesn't have inherent existence, and this kind of thought process, if you hold on with that kind of intention, then it becomes a very conducive of aligning to the perfection of generosity.
제사 디인디가네다 덴데 진버진세 유유딜량 야 상계 최배 유유다 마심진량 연론 침바당 와서 이 두고 와서.
So that when we do the perfection of generosity, that object that you are generous is in terms of being generous to the Buddhas, and as well as being generous to the sentient beings, right? The object.
제사 다 마심진 침바당도 자네 아니 닝지 침벽 심토바다 닝지 심토바 중소나 아니 간대야고 차소서.
How marvelous it would be when you do a perfection of generosity to the sentient being with the intention of great compassion.
다 상계 쇼바 피베갑라 아니 단단하신 동료들의 시럽이 개답제 아니 동반이 시럽이 심토바 중소나 아니 야우 주베주바 딩에 디간 딩에지기 삼당도나 아니 야다 주베주바 뭐마트 줘서 와서 야 줘바다 마침바스지 니가 줘서.
And then when you make the offering to the object of Buddha, when you make that offering and then offering with the understanding of the absence of inherent existence, then it'll be a perfect engaged offering of your own practice. And how marvelous that would be if you do that offering with pure concentration also.
지인들간에다 마스 심젤 닝지기 지도간에 아니 소나무 초초 야 동반이기 개다지 군주를 추바페도간이 이식 소전 초니가 조서 봤어.
So when you do the generosity as the object, as the sentient being with a great compassion, then you are accumulated extensive amount of merit, and that is a skillful means. And when you do offering to the Buddhas, and then it is held by the wisdom realizing emptiness, and that is also about accumulating the wisdom aspect of it. So how marvelous that kind of perfection of generosity.
이 누가나다 남기 라마 기부 담바 조송원나시 야군주를 추바다 마 녀을 침바당와니 안 조사나 사냐미스 시시 송야들이야 안고 덴덴데 김제지다 삼다야지 도와서.
So most of the classical teachers and great masters, they have this beautiful saying that what you make extensive offering to the Buddhas and how much extensive of generosity you do the sentient beings in terms of accumulation of merit, there is tremendous commonality in accumulating merit. And so in this way, this kind of reasoning now really makes sense when you understand those sayings of the great saints and masters. Sibylla.
Good morning. We were talking about generosity being the virtuous intention to give. It's a virtuous intention. How is that similar or different from the omnipresent intention that accompanies any mind? Does that make sense? There's the 5 omnipresent mental factors. One is intention that moves the mind to the object. And then in the description of generosity, we were using that same word, intention. I wonder, are they the same or are they in combination? I don't understand how they are the same or different.
하나 아주 구종하시오라. 소화두시 sembayile chebarekwa. Ngondi teda tanda Quran tiwatangdu handa the jimbatai ki gurung sangbochora. Gurung sangbo di share gone ani kundunga di nyamdo yewa kyapko res. 소화두시 sembayile chebarekwa.
Didare, da kundunga da yewa karwa. Diga da mixe di dumba meba temba tinges jeje yunge nga di da diga la ko mixe chakda. Mixe chaga warda.
Dumba meba temba tinges je dili yunge nga sirwa. Shirabra.
Dumba meba temba tinges shirabwa dir.
So for that question, when you engage into the perfection of generosity, that virtuous intention to give, that is there. At the same time, that 5 omnipresent mental factors are also encompassed in that. What is unique, that is something that you need to ponder and think about, is the 5 objects of 5 mental objects, which is the wishing and wanting to do that, aspiration, mindfulness, concentration, and the wisdom. Those 5 aspects is something one really crucially need to reflect deeper. Among the 51 mental factors, 5 mental objects. Yeah. Yes.
So to be a perfection, it has to be intention without attachment to reputation and so on. The act and wanting to free others from suffering and to do all this within wisdom. Would that be, to be a perfection, you have to have 3 of those?
So 3 of those you said intention, right?
Yeah, intention.
And not to
pure
have
intention and
not to have attachment towards that of recognition.
Yeah.
And then the third is?
within the understanding of emptiness or wisdom. Is that correct? Or?
I'll ask a question. Kisi parchi laji chaya jila ra parchi kora perfection laji ra kora chaya kora la ani dinalo la naga doji sum doji sangyo kyapyo nas chik pyulung yang thaba chi che niwa de la kang chiwa de la chik chaksam chi mewa che ani sumba di antoni tobe shiraki ge tamna kisi dinzu sum sangwa chashina ani pajin tuki nalo suyumba kyapyo nas
숨디 가르사
굴ung sambu chiche ra niwa di kanchiwe chawa de la ma chawa che sumba di dongi tobe shirabki simba simiyo na an di zu sum changyo na an di pajin tuki nyamlengi nalo tukiyo nas
디숨 차나
di sum changna
디숨 상황 잠기 버진 쪽이 냠내 나라 저베 캬바다 요 말이야.
Having these three components, that is the pure intention, the second is not having attachment to whatever one is engaging in, the positive action, and the third is having the wisdom of emptiness. So having these three components itself and then engaging into that virtue state, it may not necessarily can lead to a perfection, can or cannot.
그래서는 차샤비나 디숨가 찬이기 년도기 라미요 봐. 제가 아니 상계기 귤만 로바체 타라잠기 귤을 로니 요레스. 타라잠기 귤이야 로니기 딘저기 냠렌디 그 버진날 두고 말봐. 달배 귤도 두고래. 얘네 버리도 침be 버진기 남날 주 말봐.
And the reason why it is that even though these three components are there, but it doesn't lead to perfection is even in the hearer's vehicles, these three components are there, but their final state is only nirvana. It is not full awakening. And in order to have the full awakening, then the perfection needs to be there. So these perfections are not tied to the hearer's vehicle. And that's the reason.
그래서 나 버진기 얌년차나 상계기 교를 중에 주고 봐.
In order to have in order to have those perfection, this perfection vehicle, then the perfection vehicle implies that the resultant state is the Buddhahood. So that's why the difference is there.
So Geshe, the bodhicitta, is it a main mind or a mental factor?
Chanju ki simdi simjung re zosem re. It's a main mind. Why?
알레 가르치네. 가르치나. 전주그 셈 생이데 차발이야. 인지미지 키주 쭉 참고했어.
And the reason why that bodhicitta to have a main mind, there should be 6 elements that are necessary to have that.
당보거나 계치주질은 눈번이 참고고 그래서.
So first of all, the most important thing to have the bodhicitta, one needs to have 2 kind of aspiration. Two aspirations.
가야스나 조장 된 얘기 든바당 신도 된 얘기 든바스 세상에 당고 계치주 든바디니 참고다. 조장 된 얘기 든바치다 신도 된 얘기 든바스.
And the aspiration is the aspiration of the component. Within that, the 2 is the aspiration wanting to benefit others. That's one important aspiration. And the second aspiration is wanting to reach to the final state of Buddhahood. So those 2 aspirations are necessary.
근데 이바들 대전 남기 주고 대전 남기 있다 주고 고조도 차도다 주고 조 들어와.
And the second element is that becomes the entrance to become a Mahayanist, entering into the Mahayana path. That's the second element.
저선 디 인도 전에 된저기 옹셰 당 심중 뒤주기 딘데기 dumbanyi 내가 지투고 있어 말봐.
원시다.
옹비셰바다. 아니 심중.
심중. 딩이니 매와든 속이가.
딘데기 dumbanyi 내가 지투고 말봐.
알레 원시다 심중기.
심중. 제가 조스 민국의 군제인데.
알레 노스.
고쳐서.
No. So this is a little tricky. And then in order to have those two aspirations and entering into Mahayana, those elements, those are not activated or function by the sensory organs and the mental factors. The mental factors. That's why it is a main mind. So we'll complete the Q&A and want to do the dedication prayer. Venerable.
May the spiritual teachers who lead me on the sacred path, and all spiritual friends who practice it, have long life. May I pacify completely all outer and inner hindrances. Grant such inspiration, I pray. May the lives of the venerable spiritual mentors be stable, and their virtuous actions spread in the 10 directions. May the light of Lobsang's teaching, dispelling the darkness of the beings in the 3 worlds, always increase. Idam Guru Rana Mandalakam Niryatayami. Due to this merit, may we soon attain the awakened state of Guru Buddha, that we may be able to liberate all sentient beings from their suffering. May the precious Bodhi mind, not yet born, arise and grow. May that born have no decline, but increase forevermore.